Good afternoon, everybody. This is Adrienne Montgomery with ERP VARs. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm so pleased to have all these ladies with me today. We've got Deanna Povic over at HubSpot. She's our right-hand lady when it comes to HubSpot. She's our support person over there. We're ERP VAR. We are a inbound marketing agency for ERP VARs and ISVs. And we help you generate inbound leads and sales opportunities. We're a certified HubSpot value-added reseller, much like you are with ERP software. We train with HubSpot, and we have 25 years experience working with ERP VARs and ISVs for sales and marketing, so we really know how to speak the language of that ERP software customer looking to purchase ERP software. Deanna is a senior channel account manager at HubSpot. And we also have Donna Krizik with us. She's a long-term industry veteran working with VARs. She currently works with over 200 plus Acumatica VARs with Acumatica, and she helps them grow their business with innovative marketing strategies and lends her expertise to them to deliver that valuable insight in what's working in helping those VARs find ERP software opportunities. And you probably are aware that Acumatica delivers adaptable cloud and mobile ERP technology. And the great thing about Acumatica is they only sell through a network of VARs. And so I'm so delighted to have Donna with us today. And we are also joined by two of our long-term clients. We've been working with APS Payments and V Technologies for a very long time. V Technologies since 2009 and APS Payments since 2015. And Liz Anderson over at APS Payments, she's the VP of Marketing, and she is a long-time channel veteran. She was recently named CRM's 2019 Woman of the Channel. And Caroline Walsh has been, or Caroline Rua, she got married a year ago. I still sometimes think of you as Walsh. Sorry about that, Caroline. But she has been working with the channel since the late 90s. Isn't that right, Caroline?
Come on, girl.
And so they're both our HubSpot inbound marketing clients. We've implemented HubSpot for both V Technologies and APS Payments. So I'm so pleased to have all you wonderful ladies with us today. I'm going to go ahead and let Donna with Acumatica. Prior to Acumatica, Donna, I believe you were with a VAR, and you guys were evaluating which marketing automation platform to go with.
Right. Thank you very much, Adrienne. So this is Donna Krizik from Acumatica, and I figure people might be asking in their head, why is Acumatica talking about HubSpot? But so I'm taking my Acumatica hat off a little bit today in leveraging the 12 years I spent in the channel to talk about what we went through very, very briefly. We used a couple of different solutions. So we used Microsoft Dynamics CRM in conjunction with, first there was Sales Fusion, and then we moved to Click Dimensions, both which were very solid solutions, and nothing disparaging for either one of them, but we noticed that we didn't have all of the information. The integration wasn't what we wanted. We didn't have the info that we needed, and it was inaccessible to a wider audience. So we started looking for a solution. And as we searched and looked at everything, HubSpot kept bubbling to the top. And so we investigated, and for all of the things that we needed, which was something very easy to implement, something very easy to use on the sales and marketing side, because sales folks, no disrespect, they do a great job, but they want something easy and they don't want to log into one more solution. So having an integration was really critical, and there was something available already to what we used. So we wanted ease of use for admin people like me and ease of use for those who are going to use it. And then we wanted all of the data. We're, being marketers, we're kind of data nerds when it comes to who's consuming what and who's doing what with our information. So all the stuff that we create and we send out, we want to know if it's landing. And we were big on newsletters, which still work and still provide a great source of information for your audiences, and putting them together in the other solutions we had was just such painful. I think my team was ready to mutiny if they had to do one more newsletter. And with HubSpot, it became super simple for us to do that. Now, you still have to create the content to have a newsletter, so that part we didn't get off the hook, but putting it together, assembling it, sending it out, and getting the metrics was great. So those were the main things that we looked for. And like I said, HubSpot bubbled to the top. The price point was reasonable for us. And my owners came to me and they said, hey, we're looking at maybe adding to your team. I said, you know what? I don't want a person. I would like us to invest in HubSpot. And I think that that investment in HubSpot will save me a person. So, and they were floored. They're like, oh, I thought you would be jumping all over having another body, another person on your team. And I said, you know what? I think if we get smart about how we're doing this and we implement great technology, that our current team can do more with less. And it turns out that's how we went forward. And it works perfectly. The results, we have metrics around everything that we need, and the newsletters are more popular than ever. We actually added 2 more newsletters to the mix without people quitting, which is amazing. And on top of that, we've got people using the system at my old VAR that I never thought would log into a marketing tool and look at data. So sales folks are like, oh, do we have the heat map from the newsletter? I'm like, are you kidding me? A salesperson is asking for that? So things that I didn't even expect came out of it. And I can't say enough good things about our experience as a VAR. Now, we do use HubSpot at Acumatica. I love it, but I use it in a different way than most of the rest of the team does. So I'll be interested to see how other folks on the call have feedback and info around how they use it and what they're getting from it. That's my piece.
Thank you so much, Donna, for that. Okay, so here is the agenda. We're going to be talking about targeted inbound marketing campaigns, and this not only applies to HubSpot, but there's several different inbound marketing automation tools available out there today. HubSpot just happens to be our favorite, but there's several others. But there is an ideology behind inbound marketing, and HubSpot is a great resource for education when it comes to inbound marketing. Even if you're not using their software, they offer free education, and using the inbound marketing principles that we're going to be talking about today is key, regardless of which platform you're using. And so we're also going to be talking about how you can see all the different metrics by using the automated marketing platform. Identifying those influence leads becomes easy with something like HubSpot, so that you can pick out who to follow up with, who to develop workflow and nurture campaigns around, and who to focus your strategy towards to bring them through that buyer's journey that we all want to bring them through in purchasing ERP software. We want to communicate with those prospects and those contacts intelligently. We want to have an easy way to segment our list based on industry, company size, title, buyer personas. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And we want to leverage those referral relationships. We hear that all the time in the ERP software channel. That's one of the strongest areas that people leverage to get new ERP software opportunities. So we'll talk a little bit about leveraging those referral relationships and creating that ROI reporting. So I was going to let Deanna talk a little bit about creating the ROI reporting and how that it has a special significance in different mediums. And maybe we'll just start with pay-per-click, because I have seen a lot of partners using pay-per-click. And Deanna, I thought that maybe we could just use that as a reference in describing ROI.
Yeah, of course. And just to reiterate, this is Deanna over at HubSpot, and Adrian and I work very closely together as she's one of my HubSpot certified partners. So that was kind of the correlation to me joining the call today. Just wanted to take a quick step back before I give that example use case, if that's okay, Adrian.
Of course, yes, please.
Just to kind of set the context as to like why inbound marketing campaigns and kind of bullet points 1 to 8 are remotely important, or why you guys should kind of think about this, is because the way that HubSpot thinks about it internally, but also educates through our blog posts and our HubSpot Academy, is that we really want to take people who don't know about your business, so what we refer to those as strangers, turn them into really qualified prospects, where sales can turn them into customers and ultimately promoters of your business by them having positive engagements with your brand and with your team. And oftentimes what we find is that there's some bottlenecks that typically happen from marketing to sales handoff, sales to customer support, and even, you know, customer like account managers or customer support back to the marketing team, with lack of tools or visibility into the information of when a customer engages with any of your marketing efforts, all the way through the sales process and selling through them as customers, so that you can really fuel that referral-based model that you guys all value so much. It's really how they are experiencing your brand, is really how you continue to fuel that word of mouth. So we really think of this, historically, customers are kind of like the output of a sales process. But the way we think about it and the way we educate our prospects and our clients are that customers are really the focal point for you all. They're the ones that generate your business and fuel that word of mouth. So it's really important that you kind of think about it in more of a circular motion versus like a linear path or like an old school funnel where customers just kind of fall out the bottom and oftentimes kind of end there. So just to set the stage, like that's sort of why this holistic approach, or like why these 8 bullet points here, all kind of feed into that more holistic alignment between marketing, sales, and service, and how you guys should approach your businesses with kind of each piece in mind, so that there's synergy from the marketing aspect to the sales process, as Donna was talking about, all the way through delighting your customers that you have so they can be promoters of your business. And that really comes from the ROI reporting. You know, within the tool sets, you can like execute or like manage and execute everything through there, but the real key is creating ROI reporting. ROI reporting is really the catalyst for growth, and I'm sure Donna, you might be able to attest a bit, but the ROI reporting is really kind of your catalyst for growth, in the sense that if you don't have the closed loop reporting for what marketing efforts are working or what aren't working, you're essentially kind of marketing in an uneducated manner and potentially wasting dollars in wrong places. And that digital ad spend is a really great example. ERP VARs usually go towards the digital ad spend route initially to find some quick wins. But let's say you're investing like $20,000 into Google ads every month, and you don't know if that lead that comes in, so Google Analytics will tell you that you capture a lead, but you'll never know if they become a customer and how much they're actually paying you if you don't have that closed loop reporting, which is what, you know, HubSpot can provide to you guys. And that helps you make really educated decisions about which marketing efforts are working, which aren't. And from a digital avenue, you either stop wasting that $20,000 that you're spending, or you'll now know enough to step on the gas and actually feed more money into the machine to generate more revenue for your business. But that's a really great example, but that's just one example from a digital ad spend, which you're hopefully all kind of familiar with. But you can also look at ROI reporting from a content perspective, or a social media perspective, or lead nurturing, and those automated kind of email engagements that you send out post getting that lead. You can report on anything, but that's really the value, is to continue to educate yourselves about where to focus and prioritize your time to yield the most output in ROI.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deanna, for that. And then what we've seen as kind of new technology for ERP VARs, cutting edge VARs, sending, investing a lot in artificial intelligence. So I'm just going to touch on that here. I'm not going to go into great detail later on, but artificial intelligence is the new thing that VARs are using to follow up with leads with an AI agent, kind of a bot, where if a lead comes into a, let's say, inbound marketing campaign, and you don't have a salesperson or a business development rep to follow up, you can assign an AI agent to follow up with that bucket of leads coming from that individual campaign or coming from an individual form. And let's say maybe you want to find out their title, you want to find out their phone number, you didn't capture all that in the first form. So the artificial intelligence agent will go out and collect the information via email and interact with the contact via email until they reach the threshold that you set for information that you want to collect about that individual. And that'll bring all that information back into your inbound marketing system, in this case, HubSpot, and your HubSpot CRM, so you can see all that information, and you can do further list segmentation based on their title and their buyer persona, and continue to get them information that would be compelling to them based on the artificial intelligence agent and what they've been able to gather about that contact. And so the particular reseller that I'm thinking of that has deployed this strategy, they call that artificial intelligence agent Emily. And so the contact is interacting with Emily, and they're looking at Emily like a salesperson, but Emily is just this artificial intelligence agent working in the background. It's pretty cool, it's cutting edge, and I know that some software developers are using it. I don't know, Donna, have you guys deployed or looked at any of that yet over at Acumatica?
I know we're looking at it, but that's our digital team. I'll have to check and see if they've got anything in place yet. I think we're still testing.
Okay, perfect. It's really kind of cutting edge and new. So this is an example of a particular campaign at ERP VAR that we've deployed in HubSpot. So I just wanted to give you a snapshot of what a campaign looks like. There were legacy campaigns formerly, and now there's this new campaign tool in HubSpot that's really cool. You can automatically see how many net new contacts have been derived from a particular campaign. So how you do that is you assign a campaign to every piece of content that you have. So if you have a blog post, you assign it to a campaign in HubSpot. And then if you socially syndicate that blog post out to LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, then you can see how many clicks you get on that piece of content. And that piece of content could be a landing page, it could be a blog. Then you also assign your emails to a particular campaign. And so you get this kind of summary overview in HubSpot that tells you how many net new contacts you received as a result of that those pieces of content that you've generated toward that campaign. So maybe you have a campaign that you're focusing on acquiring new medical practice clinics. So you want those types of companies to come into your campaign. So you generate a blog post about the medical practice clinic accounting software. You create a landing page about medical practice accounting software. You create a call to action, which is a button that people can click on inside all of your content. And so it will, a campaign in HubSpot, for instance, will track all the activity as it pertains to a particular campaign. And then since HubSpot is also an all-in-one inbound marketing platform, it has a comprehensive CRM. So with that, you can click on and I'm going to show you this later in our HubSpot demonstration, and I hope I'm not geeking out too much here. I don't want to lose you, but it's amazing how this all-in-one marketing system can bring in and show you just at a glance how many net new contacts were generated as a result of a particular campaign, and how many influence contacts that you already had in your database have been touched as a result of that campaign. So an influence contact could be an email opened, a landing page visited, or a blog visited, and that you have their contact information, their email at a minimum, in your HubSpot database, and that email is tracked with an IP address. So you can always track how those revisits are coming back to your website. So we're going to talk about this a little bit later. And I have a couple examples here. So here would be an example of the ERPVAR.com website and the different campaigns that we've tracked inside our HubSpot. So PWP, that's an ISV. Rackus Blum is a very successful reseller representing Sage 100 for the most part in the Midwest area. They also represent Sage CRM. So they are a Sage 100. They focus in manufacturing, so they're one of our most successful resellers of Sage 100, and this is a particular campaign that pertains to them. So all of their landing pages, website pages, blogs are accounted for that we've actually attributed to Rackus Blum. So we've gotten, in the time period that we've generated their campaign, we have 34 net new contacts on our website for those landing pages. And in our internal HubSpot, we've influenced 1,196 of our internal HubSpot contacts with their campaign for Sage 100. So that's just an example. Here's Sage 300. Artzel is another very successful ISV for Acumatica. So this is another example of a small campaign we ran for them. And we're able to just click through in our HubSpot right to the contacts that are associated with this campaign. It's pretty cool. I'm going to show you that later. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about Caroline over at V Technologies and brag about her a little bit. So Caroline, if you'll help me out with this slide, just, from a testimonial perspective, some of the campaigns that we've ran for you, if you could just, give us a high level overview, talk a little bit about your videos and some of the webinars that we've done, and just, the end result.
Definitely. Thanks, Adrienne. I'm not going to go into all the details of the slide, but I really just wanted to give you, our experience, kind of a before and after look at how we were handling leads or not getting inbound leads. So prior to working with Adrienne and HubSpot, we had our website out there. We were doing a lot of marketing, a lot through our channel partners and ERP VARs. But we were primarily just, taking calls and following up based on our CRM activities. So when we worked with Adrienne and HubSpot, we really started trying to hone in on capturing some of that data. I think that's the biggest thing that we see out of it. Several things. One is, working with Adrienne on, kind of optimizing our keywords, working with other ISVs, and really looking at the various, paths to how a customer can possibly or prospect can possibly get to us. And then once we, brought all that together, then utilizing HubSpot to get that information out to the salespeople quickly. Adrian worked on quite a few workflows within HubSpot to really help us hone in on who's going to receive any particular lead. And then, so the salespeople can have a lot of information about the history of that person, where they were on our site, what kinds of things they were looking at, how many times they were on there, to really get a good idea before they were even made that call to the customer or the prospect. But the biggest thing was, having insight into, somebody that was actually on our website, because prior to that, we didn't even know. So it's awesome. And like Donna was saying about salespeople really coming into the mix and taking it in. When a salesperson gets an email that says, hey, this person's been on your site, they visited these pages, and, obviously you should really call them. And then it actually ends up to help them close a sale. It's, really gets the salespeople in tune with HubSpot, and they kind of see the benefit of all the marketing that we're doing. So that's always kind of nice from a marketing perspective. But a few of the things that we worked on to kind of feed into our site and then into the HubSpot landscape, as Adrian mentioned, would be we have these video pages. So we did a lot of we do a lot of videos, we do a lot of webinars, and we created videos from there. And we put a lot of calls to action throughout our site in different areas. We did some A/B testing there to figure out like where we should place these call to actions, but we seem to get a lot of results from that. And those would go directly to the appropriate salesperson who would handle any one of those ERP verticals that we work in. So that's, reaping the benefits of, the 8 years of having HubSpot implemented, working with Adrian on kind of always working on campaigns and optimizing keywords has really, been helpful on our side from a sales and marketing perspective.
Thank you so much for that, Caroline. And I do see that Deanna is still with us, and I just wanted to give everyone a heads up. She's, as you recall, with HubSpot, and I think she has to check off this webinar real quick, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity, Deanna, if you have a second, just to offer any closing remarks before you have to step away.
Yeah, of course. I apologize. I can't stay for the whole thing. But yeah, I think just kind of the point of this webinar today is just to help inform you all that you don't have to necessarily kind of go about this without data or insights or without tools to help you be successful. That's why HubSpot exists. That's why Adrian at ERP VAR exists. You have not only us as resources, but you do have tools to really help you grow in the way in which you want to grow your businesses. And I think to that point, a lot of this, hopefully you're following along nicely with these great examples and kind of use cases. However, I just wanted you to all know that you always have access to myself. I'll make myself available through Adrian post this webinar. You will always have access to myself if I can ever be helpful. But really, if you don't have marketing teams internally or have the dedicated resources to be able to, execute these types of campaigns effectively, like you have ERP VAR, who is kind of your best champion, as B Technologies and Acumatica can speak to, and how their relationships have blossomed by way of implementing HubSpot for the various companies on the call today. So don't feel like you have to go it alone. You have HubSpot as software that you can utilize, and you have Adrian from ERP VAR to be able to help you implement. But we really just want to help you provide the opportunity to know that you have tools and resources to implement to help you grow and be successful.
Thank you so much, Deanna, for joining us. We really appreciate your time. And
of course,
I know that a lot of VARs, a lot of VARs do like to have that extra support in addition to what we can provide, and to know that they have an internal champion over at HubSpot and to supplement our efforts. So perfect. And we work together, and we can work directly with everybody in the audience, or we can work right through Deanna, or, you know, Deanna can work directly if you have, you know, any type of confidential issues. Sometimes our clients like to just work directly with HubSpot. So you have that option, and I just wanted to make everyone aware of that. So thank you, Deanna. We'll just move on here. I really do appreciate you being with us.
Appreciate it.
And then, so back to Caroline's slide over at V Technologies. So we're continuing on with her example. So she has different looking campaigns here. If you note, she has a support services campaign. So this is for existing customers that might fill out support requests, landing pages, and different types of content with emails that are just dedicated to existing customers. So you can kind of see right here at that high level how many landing pages they've attributed to support services, how many blogs, how many call to actions, and everything's just nicely summarized here. How many net new contacts were derived from a support services campaign, and that's usually going to be from, you know, a customer forwarding on the email to another internal employee. So it generated a net new contact. A request product info. She has another campaign that is aligned with requesting product info. She has a QuickBooks campaign here, so you can see the summary information. And when we get into HubSpot, you'll see how you can go ahead and click into any of these items there, and it will bring you to the list in the HubSpot CRM of all of the contacts that are included in this campaign. And so an influence contact, you know, is a live body behind a desk that has either opened an email, clicked on a landing page, filled out a form at some point. You could have imported that contact into your database, but once they open an email and their IP address is measured inside a HubSpot, they become that influence contact. So you can use this information if you have a dedicated business developer. Maybe you want them following up with all influence contacts. Maybe you want to put the influence contacts into different workflow buckets where they're getting different kinds of nurture emails. There's all kinds of things that you can do, and this is just at a very high level. Caroline, did you want to talk to anything else here? Did you have any insight that I might have missed?
No, I think that's about it with the various mediums, the workflows. I mean, mainly just, you know, working to get all the various channels, your marketing channels together through HubSpot, and then, you know, getting that off to the salespeople. But it's been working really well for us for the past 8 years, so we're definitely happy to be a reference site for HubSpot.
And then Liz, I didn't create any slides for you over at APS, but I wondered if you might just provide some insight for your experience with different campaigns and different pieces of content and how you've organized it over there at APS Payments. If you might have anything to add here.
Sure, happy to add some more insight. So we've done very similar to VTech as far as creating campaigns not only around different channels, but we've also created it. So for example, Sage, Acumatica, you know, the list goes on, Magento, but we've also created them for verticals. So then we've taken it and we've done it for hospitality or automotive payments or, you know, whatever it may be, which vertical we're going after, manufacturing. And then we've also created campaigns specifically for partners that we work with through partner marketing. And so I can go into our HubSpot and click on a partner and let's just use DSV as an example, click on DSV and see all the campaigns we've done with them and see all the click-throughs and everything like that they've helped influence in our database through the marketing efforts we've done through them. So very, very easy to use, very intuitive, and back to the point of ROI, you can see firsthand, somebody can call you and say, hey, how are we doing with this channel or how are we doing with this partner? And you can get that insight at your fingertips very easily.
Awesome. Okay. And then we're going to hop over here to the personas and how important those are. And Liz, I'm going to let you elaborate when we get to the next slide, but just at a very high level here, HubSpot offers so many different tools, and they're free. Some of these tools, like this persona builder here, I just quickly built a persona with their persona builder that everyone can probably empathize with in our market. And I call them Manufacturing Manny. And he's a CFO at a manufacturing company. And so we built this persona out so that we can understand Manny. We can understand what his responsibilities are, who he reports to, how he gains his information, the tools that he needs to effectively succeed at his job. We all know that he wants to have great reporting software, invoicing software. He needs those business intelligence dashboards to quickly supply CEOs. And then his job is measured by, what is his job measured by? So you can always focus what you create, what kind of content you create around what would resonate with Manny. So he's a persona. And so once you get the titles to your contacts in HubSpot, that's another level. You can assign them to a persona campaign for that particular vertical that you're focusing on. And it could be, make to order manufacturing, and the CFO at a make to order manufacturing company would be interested in different content than the CEO. They have different challenges that they want to solve for. So creating that content that you're going to put underneath an umbrella campaign is key, so that Manufacturing Manny would be interested in reading your content and understanding how you can solve for his challenges. So I'm going to go ahead and let Liz speak to the next slide, because this is all about what they've done over at APS Payments in creating personas. So thank you so much, Liz, for creating this and helping us understand what you're doing over there.
Sure. Thanks, Adrienne. Yeah, and just to recap, a buyer persona is really a human representation of your ideal customer. And what we can do in HubSpot, as Adrienne just showed, is create these semi-fictional characters that you can then use in your marketing strategy when you're doing follow-up through content that you're sending out, so that you can get those to move through that sales cycle and get more inbound leads that way. I've created multiple personas at APS, and just a little background on creating personas, if you haven't created them before, is you first want to think about who in your organization you can talk to that would really understand who we're selling to. And you think, okay, let's talk to the salespeople about buyer personas. But I would say don't start there, actually. That's what you think you should do, but you shouldn't. You should really call your existing customers and find out who the decision makers were in the buying process that you went through with that customer, and get their insight on who the key personas are, because you oftentimes think you know who that key persona is, but oftentimes you're going to get even more insight by talking to those end user customers that actually went through a sales cycle with you. And I would actually recommend you talk to customers that have not only purchased and move forward with you, but also customers that chose not to proceed with you, and get their insight as well, because it gives you additional insight into maybe you were talking to the wrong persona, or maybe you weren't talking to the right pain points. And so you have an opportunity to get more insight if those customers that didn't choose to go forward with you are willing to share that insight with you. And so you can see here that we've created approximately 6 different personas at APS Payments. And like within HubSpot, for example, an owner, I might call the owner somebody like Owen the owner, or you could call the CFO persona Chip the CFO, or we've had them in my past life where I've created Sam the startup guy. And so you can create these personas, and then you can actually put them on your website. And so when somebody comes to your website and goes to a features page, they could say something like, hey, are you the startup guru? Are you the owner, Owen the owner, or are you, Chip the CFO? And then you can click on it, and you can bring them to specific pages that talk to the pain points that are most important and relevant to them. And then what you can do with your content is you create content that solves or provides answers to the challenges that these personas run into. So for example, if I have an owner persona and I'm targeting them, and I know that they're trying to reduce expenses and reduce their risks, and they're also trying to automate things, I might say, hey, I've got this great integrated payments buyer's guide that I think you would find beneficial. It'll talk to you about the risks involved with processing payments if you're doing it wrong. It'll talk about how you can reduce your expenses, talk about how integrated payments can save you time and money, et cetera, et cetera. And so by creating these personas and then providing content that aligns to their pain points, you can create a nurture journey. And so what we've done at APS is we have created a nurture path that is not only focused on vertical. So for example, I might have a nurture path that is for all stage prospects or stage partners in our database. And I might have another one that's for all Acumatica, and another one that's for SAP B1, and another one that's for Magento. So I start there from a channel level or a vertical level. And then from within there, I might say, okay, I know that in the Acumatica space, I've got a lot of manufacturers. So I'm going to say, if I know that this persona is the CFO and he's a manufacturer, I'm going to give him this piece of content in the next email that I drip out to them or her so that they can get something that's going to be relevant to them and hopefully move them along to the next stage in our pipeline. And so the way that you create these personas can be really useful, because then you can make sure that you're really touching on the points that they are going to resonate with, because you're talking their talk, you're helping them solve complex business challenges. And at the end of the day, they're going to trust you more because of that, because you're putting content in front of them that they feel is going to help them, move their business forward to the next step. And so once again, just to kind of recap everything I've talked about from a persona and content perspective, is create your personas by interviewing your existing customers, take your content and put it into various stages of the buyer cycle that not only aligns with the personas that you've created, but also aligns with the verticals you've created, and then put nurture programs together that are drip emails that will send out to them based on the various personas that you've created and put them into. And the other thing that HubSpot does that's really great is that you oftentimes don't ask for titles on a form, because we try to keep the number of form questions to a minimum so that we don't deter people from filling out forms on our websites, our landing pages, et cetera. And so what HubSpot will do is, once you get them into your database, maybe you only captured company name, first name, last name, email. The next time that some person gets that drip email and you bring them to the landing page, it'll maybe pop up another field, because it can be dynamic, that doesn't ask them for all the other information that they provided the first time because you already have it, but it'll say, hey, can you please now tell me your title? And once you get that title, then it can go into HubSpot and put that title into one of your personas so that you know the next piece of content and the next stage of the buying cycle that you should send out to them to keep nurturing them through that sales cycle and ultimately turn them into a customer that turns into a reference for you long term.
And it's just that simple, huh, Liz?
It is that simple, actually, with HubSpot.
Once you know the tool, and once you have it, the momentum going, it just becomes repetitive, and you can clone things, and then you can branch things off that you've already created. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. You can just leverage what's worked in the past and recreate it fairly easily once you understand your strategy and deploy your strategy. Everything kind of falls in line. So I know it sounds like a lot, but it's a lot less because you have automation than trying to do all this yourself.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go through a somewhat quick HubSpot demonstration, if I may. And Donna, while we're going through this, did you have any insight that you thought we might have been missing here, just outside looking in while you're listening?
Well, one of the things that we find particularly useful for our partner network is that we provide a partner ID for everybody. So when they do marketing campaigns, that when they leverage, any of our content that we already created, they can attach that PID, partner ID. And then we can go through HubSpot. I just got a partner who asked me this today, like, oh, hey, we did a test form to make sure this is working. Can you send it to us? So I was just looking it up while we were talking, and I can see that, that whole history of what they've done at a glance on Acumatica.com and what they've downloaded for gated content, everything. And it's such a nice, helpful snapshot of what is working and there you can really optimize what you're offering. And one of the things that we've struggled with on our portal is once people log into the portal, we can't really see where they go. So we don't know what they're using. And this is one way that we kind of get around that. With HubSpot, we can see what everybody's using, what's downloading, what's most popular. And therefore, we don't have to keep creating content to test. We can actually see results and see what's working.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And this is kind of an example that we could use in line with that. We have different campaigns here, and these different campaigns are attributed to different partners that we work with. And this is all on ERP VARs, so I'm not disclosing anyone else's HubSpot information, but we do manage quite a few of these partners' HubSpots as well. But this is on our umbrella ERPVAR.com HubSpot. And these are all individual campaigns on our ERPVAR.com HubSpot. PWP is one of our ISVs that we worked with last year, and this is just pulling in some of the results as far as our efforts with them. And it was a relatively small campaign. We had a few webinars, we had a few landing pages attributed to them, but if I want to click on the particular campaign, I can go right here and see all of the assets that have been aligned. And when I say assets, I mean landing pages, blogs, individual blogs that were written on their behalf, individual events that we might have had with landing pages. We don't track closed deals, so we don't even know how many deals of these closed. Nobody really gets back to us and tells us how many deals were closed or who they were, because they keep their cards close to their chest, and we don't have to know that. It's nice to know, but we don't track how many deals actually close from our partners. A lot of times we find out, 6 months later that they closed deals. So that's not something that we're tracking inside our HubSpot, but they would track in their HubSpot. If they had HubSpot, they would see how many closed deals were a result of all the assets in the campaign. But we did assign all of these influence contacts to them, to a salesperson when we were working with them, and we can easily call out to this list. We can also easily call out to the net new contacts that came into our database, into our HubSpot database, that were derived as a result of this campaign. We can see that 613 website sessions were a result of this particular campaign. And at a glance, we can kind of see, we had 4 blog posts, not a lot of blog posts. And these were the individual blog posts, and these are how many views the individual blog posts got after we syndicated them in social media. Here's some of the individual blog posts that you see here that were syndicated through social media. We can see that LinkedIn, we got, this many click-throughs. LinkedIn, we send all of our content through our network of social media profiles at ERP VAR, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. And so that helps boost the click-throughs. We also have other business partners that are interested in Sage branded material or Acumatica branded material. So they have allowed us access to their social profiles. We get greater reach because it's more of a team approach. So we can also send social posts through their social media profiles, and those would be included here in the results area. And then here's the call to action button. So however many times the button was actually viewed and how many clicks the button actually got. And here's the emails that we sent out. So we can tell that we had 4,310 contacts in our database that received this particular email. We know that 751 of those contacts opened the email, and that email got 23 clicks. This particular one email back in 2018, that's how many. And then we can see the different landing pages that we created for this particular partner, and then how many submissions as a result. So how many contacts actually submitted on the form. And then this is the net new contacts that you see above. So, we have 3 pages of landing pages. We have 11 landing pages for them that we attributed to this campaign. If I'm a VAR and I have a business development rep that I employ full time and their whole job is to call people and to, push them through the buyer's journey, I might want, if I'm a business development rep, rather than getting a cold list from somewhere, a Dun and Bradstreet list, I would much rather just click on this and see all the targeted individuals that came in as a result of this particular campaign, and I can easily use it in a CRM list. So I'm going to say inbound marketing PWP list example. And so this is going to build a list right in HubSpot of all my influence contacts. They either opened an email, I know they're a live body, they clicked on a link, and they've interacted with my website at some point, or my email. They've opened it up and they've filled out a form, most importantly. So I'm going to click on this link to see my new list that I just built in my HubSpot CRM. It's going to take a while to process this list, but you can see I just called it. So inbound marketing PWP list example. I have 1,799 contacts. If I'm an ISV, I'm going to want to call, I'm going to want to look at this list first, and I'm going to want to call down the ones that have more interaction, and especially the most recent contacts. Now, this was an older campaign that I just showed you, but I also can see financial services, annual revenue, where they're located. Computer software is usually a reseller. So if I'm an ISV and I want to build my relationships with other resellers, then I'm going to have different emails or different phone calls I might make to my resellers than I'm going to make to my end users. If I'm a VAR, I probably don't want to see any of the other resellers in here. So I'm going to create a list real quick to say excluding computer software. So I only have end users here. And then if I just want food and beverage people, I'll look for food and beverage people and so forth. So you can filter down your list to any real degree that you want to, but you know that all these people have interacted with our website at some point somehow, and they've filled out a form for the most part, and you can see the different form fields that they filled out and what pages just at a glance here by looking at the landing page. Like, so this one was Acumatica partners. This is this came from Facebook, was the initial way that this person came in. Lots of organic search terms come to our website and fill out forms, and I can see the different form conversion just right at a glance here that they actually filled out. I can drill into any contact here and see more about them. So if I wanted to look at one of the end users here that I can see, I could go right into like this machinery end user, and I can look through how he's interacted, or this person's interacted with our website. It pulls in all the information that's associated with this particular contact as they've interacted with ERP VAR. And I can see that they are in Wisconsin, $50,000 or $50 million in annual revenue. And then a lot of times you'll have a description here of exactly what they do, because HubSpot will automatically bring in all the information of the particular contact. So this is like invaluable. Extremely valuable tool for a VAR who has a business development representative that you want that they are quota driven, and they have to follow up with leads, and they have to put their head down and make sure they're on top of their leads. I can't stress that enough. I used to be a salesperson for ERP, and I used to be given lists to call. And this is why we became inbound marketing certified for HubSpot, because it's an amazing value to be able to see all this information. And this is the whole reason why we're doing what we're doing. So I see that we have 3 minutes left to close. I'm going to launch a couple polls here and see if we have any questions. I just want to remind the audience that there's a question mark button right next to your name on the webinar pane. If you should have any questions, we just ask that you key in that question by hitting the question mark button. And I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll for the sake of time here. I could go on and on about HubSpot. And Caroline, Liz, Donna, do you guys have anything else you'd like to close out with other than all the insight you've already provided?
Nope, just thanks for everyone's time. Thanks for coordinating, Adrian. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Of course.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Adrian.
ladies.
All right, guys. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.